I'm Dean Willis, and this is The Road to Recovery.
We are back. 2025 is here. Lawrence County Recovery and Wellness.
Yes.
My Road to Recovery. Had a little bit of time off because all of us are rednecks and we live up on mountains and we couldn't get off the hill
Nobody.
to do these
You're
things.
exactly right.
Man, it's good to be back. I'm
It
super
is.
excited about this year, and we got a lot. I was going to say we're going to do some things different this year, but we're not.
No.
We're going to keep doing what we do. We're going to try to keep getting the message out that there's a hope, that there's a chance, that there's a way, and we're going to help you see through it. So today we got a special guest. You was telling me all about this young man just a minute ago. What a story he's got.
He does pretty awesome. Mr. Willis, he and I kind of met through the Rooms of Recovery. He does quite a bit for the local community. He does a lot for kids. The kind of, some down and out. Unfortunately, the area that we live in, we find that, sometimes we have to kind of reach out and reach out a little harder sometimes. So this gentleman does quite a bit for the community. A couple times a year through his church, they will do some things where they'll provide like a meal, shoes, coats, just a variety of things. So anytime he's ever called on us to try to help do anything, I'm always, whatever we can do, please. Yeah. And a couple months back, he gave us a call, wanted me to come down and kind of speak at his church, and we did. And I told him, I said, it'd be great to have you come on the podcast, and so we can get some things out there, let people know in our community that there are so many people that give back. Like, we do recover, and when we do recover, we love to try to help other people. So, Mr. Willis, we're so honored to have you here this evening.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We do this to help other people. I basically, my story's just like Kat's or anybody's, but everything I try to stay in what we're doing now. It's basically like I have two clothing giveaways and feed pulled pork and all the stuff, and like I said, we had 165 people we fed and clothed the last one, and 150 actually stayed for the meeting. So we had to go upstairs to the church, and Kat gave her leads, and it's just amazing. I mean, there was a lot of guys teared up and crying, And after that, actually, we've got 3-4 people that come to church every Sunday. So it touched them, and that's what we're there to do. It helps us stay sober to do what we do.
There's really not a better feeling in the world I've ever encountered. Amanda asked me the other day, she said, when you die, what would you like to be remembered for? And I think she was thinking, the record sold, the touring. It's just being able to look back, and I want my daughter to know, my dad did some good things for people, and I think that's what gives me the utmost feeling in my belly is to give back, for sure.
Yeah.
It is. And it's just so good because, like, in the small communities that we're in, a lot of times, once you kind of fallen from grace per se, then a lot of folks don't think that we can change and we do different things. And I think, like, the meeting, Dean's had this ongoing meeting at the church for a long time. People are drawn to that meeting, and they know no matter what, that meeting's going to be there. And they are never turned away. And I think that I appreciate that about that meeting that you guys have down there the most. Now, how much are we celebrating with you? How many years are we celebrating?
I got 7.5 years clean and sober.
That's awesome.
And it's just been a one day at a time deal. I don't know. I just love sobriety. I've got family members, and some of them's had trouble through this too. And I mean, to help a family member is just you just about have to send them to someone else. Because we just have such a hard time caring so much. And I care about everybody that comes into our meeting down there at church. It's amazing what people that come there is, they keep coming back. So evidently we're doing something pretty good.
Absolutely.
And I'm a kind of a stickler on different things at the meeting. It ain't no girl and guy hookup. There's no, how do you say it? We don't, no, basically like talking, cell phones, all that stuff. I make them shut everything down. And if
necessary.
I'm blind. I don't, and I have people watching. But in 7.5 years, I've had to make maybe 1 or 2 people leave out of 7.5 years. So they really,
Exactly.
That's crazy.
they're really respected at the meeting and stuff. And Kat, like I say, she's done a lot. I'm glad we met in recovery because we've got a lot in common, and it's just amazing, the stories you hear from people. When I come in, they wanted me to put the cotton in my mouth and listen.
Yeah.
Well, we was old time sobriety, a lot of them guys, and I thought, man, and that's where I learned my stuff from. And I worked the 12 steps,
Yeah.
and I've done it several times. I got a sponsor, and I think you got to have that.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's necessary, and I think sometimes too that I love when you go to an AA meeting and it's an AA meeting with some good thumping. That they know the 12 steps, because I'm gonna tell you, you ain't about to do nothing you're not supposed to, because they will look right at you and dismiss you real quick, and you will crawl out of there because you will be so ashamed of yourself. And I like it whenever you go to those meetings because you know that they know they've lost too many people, and they love hard enough to make you hear the things you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And I really appreciate that about a lot of the folks that are in our recovery community.
And we also have like 26 or 28 home group members, and that's unheard of.
It is.
Around this area. We've had a couple meetings shut down and stuff, different things, and I'm glad that we can operate and still do everything the best of our ability, and go through the rules and do everything as possible as we can, But man, I'm glad to meet you, Cletus, and like I say,
Thank you.
I want you to come give your lead sometime.
I'd love to. Done deal.
But we have the best coffee, best baked goods. My mom bakes all the baked goods.
Food pretty
And,
good too.
Yeah,
and when Kathy spoke,
Yeah.
my mom was crying and went up and hugged her, and it was just amazing.
It was good to see your
was
family
just,
there.
it just hit you so hard.
You talk about doing meetings for that long and only having a couple of instances where a cell phone or you've had to ask somebody to leave, especially in today's everybody's on their phone. I got mine sitting right
I
here
guarantee.
beside me.
I think it's more of addiction today than other things are. I
absolutely.
mean, sometimes
No
we feel like if we're not connected, I leave my phone to house, I'm turning around and go back to get it.
Oh, yeah. I don't care if I'm halfway to Panama City. I'm going back to get that phone.
Exactly. I
It's
think
crazy.
that's amazing.
That's a testament
It is.
to a good message going on over there for sure.
love
And where I'm blind, I depend on it quite a bit. And thank God I've got some of my vision back. I've been doing a lot of stuff, but I know if you stay in God's will, it can be done. If I get in my will, Dean's will, I'm crazier than hell, and it just ain't gonna work.
Preach it, brother.
So
Me and you both.
there's just no possible way. I mean, God done for me what I couldn't do for myself.
So
And
what if I had somebody? What if there's somebody out there right now that's listening to this, Dean, and let's say that they're kind of toying with it. Maybe I'm drinking a little bit too much now. Maybe my family. I haven't lost much yet, but I know it's coming.
Yeah.
My wife's complaining, or my husband, my spouse. What's something you'd tell that person to tell them it's okay to come to the meeting the first time and just sit still? You don't have to know anybody to come in and sit down, do you?
No.
What would you say to bring them into that meeting? What would be something you think we could get them just to kind of lure them in a minute?
I would say, basically, if you have any chance at all and you think you're doing too much and you want to live, come in and sit and listen. And you don't have to say anything. What you hear here stays here. And everything will be good. I mean, I think you'll get a lot out of listening. I have a lot of lead speakers, and their story is about like our story. It's just worded a little different, but new people that coming in, and we say keep coming back, and that's not right. Stay. We want you to stay, and it's just so powerful to, and we say the Lord's Prayer at the end of every meeting, and man, it just
Powerful, isn't it?
And very
Yeah,
powerful.
I have
When you
it.
have a circle and it takes up the whole inside of a church, I mean, those moments right there, it really kind of takes your breath. Because, sometimes you do good to get two recovering addicts together, do some stuff, but then when you can stand in a small town in a church, on an evening, and they all come together for the same reason, and it takes, 10 minutes to get in a circle,
Yeah,
now
yeah.
that right there that's the most
Awesome.
heartwarming thing that you're ever going to see and feel. I love it. So do you guys have anything coming up soon? Anything that maybe the public could help out with? Or is there any new clothing drives or anything that you're going to do? I know usually is it in the spring and in the fall, right? I was trying to think. Yeah, summer.
and fall. Yeah, we're gonna. I get calls all the time, and it blows me away. But I've asked Kat to help, and as far as contributions go, clothes, good used clothes you can donate. We can do that. you wouldn't believe how much clothes we got now at our church. So we stay ahead. Shoes. I know people that comes in treatment with a shirt on their back, and I've actually taken a pair of boots up. A guy called me up to Capper's Court, Judge Capper's Court, and he said, his secretary said, "Hey, I need a pair of boots for a guy, 9.5." So I went to I bought him a pair of boots, and he's still working to this day. So any little thing that we can do in the community, and we've got a lot of people here in the community that is kind of off and on about sobriety, and I understand that,
Me too.
People don't, do we look like addicts and alcoholics? I mean, we're just normal people, and they are too. I mean, and I hate that when somebody says "you people," because we're as good a people, probably better than a lot of people out there.
Absolutely.
And
We've been through a little more.
and we know what's expected.
Exactly. Totally.
Have a little bit more sympathy, I think.
Yeah, I think so
A little
too.
bigger heart sometimes.
Yeah. Just to kind of see what their potential is, and I love it whenever you have somebody that comes to a meeting for the first or second time, and they don't think what you have is possible. They think that what you have, it's just undeterminable. I can never get there, and then you tell, I just keep coming back. I'm gonna tell you, stick right here, stay in the solution, and I promise you, things are going to get better for you.
And that's why we do this, is
Yeah,
to show people
exactly.
that are sitting out there that, man, you can do, you can recover, you can do better,
You can.
I got 20 years under my belt. It's like it never happened. It's like I can't even remember
That person.
what that madness felt like, the chaos, God, I swear if you'll get me down off this one, I'll never do it again. I swear if you slow my heartbeat down just a little, I'll never clean another car with a toothbrush in my life.
Not gonna happen.
It's like it, and that's what I tell people. The further you get from those problems, the easier it becomes, or at least it did for me. I can't speak to everybody, and I know relapse are inevitable for a lot of people, but man, it's just like the further you get away from something, it's like a bad marriage. The further you get away from it and get on with your life and get on with doing other things, it's like that bad marriage never happened. And that's kind of my take on it.
Me too. I think it's great. Now you have grandkids, right?
2.
How old are they?
Bell is 7.5 years old. So my sobriety date is September the 7th, 2017, and that's when she was born.
I thought those dates correlated. I thought you and I'd had that
it wasn't
discussion before.
planned,
Just kind of happened, didn't it?
And then my grandson, Asher Dean, they named after me, but he's 7 months old, and I mean, it's just amazing,
Gift from God, isn't it?
Gift from God, because if I was still out there drinking and drugging, I'd never get to see him.
No.
And I even married my wife 3 times, so that tells you kind of how sick I am.
Hey, it happens. It happens.
But I do love my
We don't
wife.
want to get into that. But this podcast ain't got enough tape in that camera to get all that in.
But it's crazy how they support me, my wife and children, and all my family in sobriety. I can get a phone call at midnight, and I don't drive, And they said go 90 meetings in 90 days. I went to like 200 and some. I had somebody tell people was begging to, So it's just it's great to feel that kindness and love, and you tell people to, learn to love themselves, and people actually, I think, start getting it, but it's like repetition. I mean, we just got to keep putting it in their head, and once they start reading the big book and get a sponsor, it's a lot easier for them to understand once they start reading that book. Because God's in there 200 sometimes. And without God, I couldn't do this. I mean,
I think it was pretty cool, like going to the meetings and stuff, attending some of your meetings, and your family's very active, and my family's very active in my recovery. Like if they educated themselves, which in the beginning I was not a fan of, because it stopped everything. It's tracks. I know. I'm like, Mike, that's all a lie. Throw that book away. But then after they did, and then they seen, and then they started believing in other people, and then they become like family to folks who didn't have family that cared about them, and it was great to see your mom. She comes, she cooks, she does the things, not because she's been affected herself, but her life's been affected, her son's been affected, and it was just great to just kind of see that come together, and I know personally how much it means to me in my recovery that my family took the time to understand what was going on to make sure that they could be a part of the solution with me.
Very much so. And I got a guy that I know has got 40-some years, but he always asked, he told me his sponsee would come and say, man, I relapsed, and he said, he'd ask him, Frank, say, did you pray? 99% of the people say no. So, that's my first biggest thing every morning,
Pray.
Pray every morning, and I ask him to stay with me throughout the day and thank him every night. I mean, it's not complicated to do what we do.
Nope.
Some of the smartest people is to me is alcoholic and addicts. I mean, we done stuff that people would have never done.
Oh, can't even imagine half of it.
Well, I mean, you're able, when you meet somebody and they're not employed and they can stay high or drunk every day, then you're like, okay, what are you doing? Like, they are very, and I said, just reroute that energy, man. You reroute a little bit of that energy over here, and it's amazing what you can do.
I mean, you do.
Well,
and
and
nothing done that other
you
way.
don't, you think you
finish
do.
a project or
No,
nothing.
heck no.
Ain't no way.
No, it just don't happen that way. It's just, but it's so good to sit down and just kind of like look within our own communities and see what's going on and seeing the growth, the personal growth that's happening here, and knowing that, and no matter what's going on, every week we know there's going to be this meeting at this church in Ironton, and that there's going to be people showing up at this place because they know there's people in that basement that care about them, and there's going to be some coffee there waiting on them every week.
Guaranteed.
Every week.
Buddy, thank you so much, man. You're definitely an inspiration, my friend,
Yes.
for sure.
I appreciate
Yes,
it.
sir.
And
You're a good man, for sure.
like I say, I really thank you guys, and it's amazing to sit down with you guys and talk about recovery, because it's just I've heard some of Clee's stories too, and I mean, it's cool. We just got to keep praying and
be still.
stay in the solution, guys. Just stay in the solution.
That's right, exactly.
All right, that's going to do it for us on this episode of Lawrence County Recovery's Road to Recovery. We'll see you next time. All the information that you need will be on the screen. Dial the number, send the email, reach out for help. Don't be ashamed to do so. Have a good day. See you.